Hi, it's Clint Stonebreaker again, and today we're going to talk about 12-step recovery for parents. When an addict or an alcoholic comes into treatment on any level, one of the first things that they have to realize and understand is that their lives are unmanageable as a direct result of their drug and alcohol abuse. This is going to be a little bit trickier with adolescents than it is with adults. But eventually, even the adolescent has to get to that level of awareness, that level of understanding. The addict or alcoholic has to accept the fact that the major problems in his or her life are as a direct result of drug and alcohol abuse. Most family members understand this. What can be confusing, though, is what's my role? How do I fit into this? Parents or spouses will hear things like, be a part of the solution rather than a part of the problem, or you need to work a program too. A lot of times, though, these definitions are very unclear. People don't know exactly what that means. So I'll illustrate it in a couple of different ways. For any parent or loved one of an addict or an alcoholic, there is generally a pattern of behavior that has created a lack of serenity or a lack of sanity. Whether that's trying to control the behavior of the addict or alcoholic, whether that's trying to act like it's not a problem, act like there's nothing going on, avoiding it somehow, denial. There are all kinds of ways that parents or spouses go into that state of mind. And when a loved one gets to that kind of mental and emotional place, it really is a form of insanity when you stop and think about it, because the level of anxiety, the level of stress, the level of fear that comes along with remaining in that place creates a tremendous amount of unmanageability through bad decisions, through sabotage in the relationship, and through everything from a lack of sleep to a loss of appetite. Life gets very, very difficult. Without a basic understanding of recovery, parents can be at a place of, well, now that this little a-hole is sober, why isn't everything okay? But the reality is that drug and alcohol abuse doesn't happen in a vacuum. There are a lot more pieces to the puzzle than just drug and alcohol abuse. It's an entire lifestyle, and a lifestyle that affects everyone who's around. So just like for an addict or an alcoholic, they have to come to the realization of what is actually making their life unmanageable: drugs and alcohol, the lifestyle that goes along with that. A loved one or a parent has to do something similar. When an addict or an alcoholic comes to that realization, that's called getting a first step. For a parent, it is coming to the understanding of the way that I've handled this situation up to this point: control, guilt, anger, shame, etc. That's creating unmanageability in my life. That is a first step by definition. What that does for an addict, getting a first step, is it opens the door to enter the rest of recovery and gain more tools. The same is true for a parent, because once a parent understands what the problem is, he or she is then armed with the awareness to move forward. Drug and alcohol abuse creates deep wounds for everyone in the family. Entering into recovery gives people the opportunity to start healing. As soon as a parent or a loved one is able to surrender to the idea that going along the same path is going to create more of the same situations, they're able to open themselves up to a power greater than themselves that can restore them to sanity. They're also able to dig a little bit deeper and find those things that created the patterns of guilt and shame and fear and anger, and start to let those go. Eventually what happens is the relationship heals. As the relationship between the addict and the parents heal, family recovery really begins. And ultimately that's the goal, is for everyone to be able to get better.